Hey, well, actually, another event is occurring the night after, the Raphael story arc, so I may as well sort of throw this in. But yeah, I'm going to sleep. Something unusual happens that morning. You awake to the soft patter of footsteps moving away from you. For a second, you think nothing of it, but soon awake to the realization that you might have been robbed again. When you sit up and notice the weight off your chest, you realize someone has made off with the priceless ruby pendant Raphael gifted you earlier. They swiped it straight off your neck. You rush out of your tent when you look around to spot something red lying in the small ruined wall on the outskirts of your camp. You realize that the situation isn't as urgent as you feared. You begin to understand what the wily fox meant to imply with uncertain ownership of the pendant. Curious, you amble towards the russet road. Raphael, this time armed with a picnic basket and a bottle of fine wine, makes a nonchalant impression as he lies leisurely on top of on top of the wall. His tail flicks about playfully while he swirls a small amount of wine within a crystal glass. At first, he looks at the fluid casually and takes a sip before rolling his head sideways to look down upon you. How long ago was it that you had a decent breakfast, He smirks. One that didn't include imp gut and hellhound testicles. A worn-out camp like this one is no place for a lady. Let me at least endeavor to give a woman of your caliber a taste of the good life. When you inspect the rest of his body, it's clear that Raphael is still the fly fox. The ruby pendant hangs from his belt. He has once again stolen it from you after gifting it earlier, like it was some game. When he notices your interest, he flicks his tail over, causing the necklace to disappear. A temporary price of admission for a moment of wonder, he assures you. Trust me, that'll be worth it. Join me, and I might even teach you the tricks of the trade. That is, unless you're cunning enough to frisk me for it, he smiles playfully. I may as well. With you, with a playful smile, express a desire to get your jewelry back. Challenged, Raphael hops from his perch and leans against the wall like a misbehaved rascal at your approach. With his back turned towards the boulders, he has his hands behind his head and one foot against the stacked cobblestone, braving his body like he's eager for your touch. My, whatever are you talking about, senorita? Know something I don't? Noticing how Raphael leaves more room between his hands than his head than necessary, you reach behind his neck to retrieve the pilfered pendant. But when you do, there is none to be found. It's the only place he could have put it, but it's gone and he isn't using his arms. Figuring it out easily, you notice how the fox is moving his tail about. The sneaky rogue is using his fifth limb to move the pendant about his body. Deducing the only way he could do that without moving his arms, you reach for the heel of his lifted foot and intercept the string before he can pass it onto his leg. Nice try, you comment with a triumphant smile, when you quickly retrieve the necklace and walk away from Raphael before he realizes you've outwitted him. You hug the jewelry tight. The fox seems like a gracious loser, and the young man beams. Well played. He congratulates you behind your back. You show potential. However, I urge you not to grow complacent. There's still quite a few tricks that only a true master thief like I possess. If you allow me, I could teach you even more about my craft. Graduate you into a whole new way of living, one you never knew existed. How do I respond? I will accept. Come on then, he proclaims before shooting up the wall, extending you his paw. Join me, and together we shall paint the forest russet red. You wave his paw and choose to walk around the 8-foot-long wall, instead of struggle to climb over it. Raphael flashes a grin of delight when you do. I can see I caught onto a smart one. Stick with me, and I could even finish your education. I promise that graduation will be something special. As Raphael leads you forward by the hand, you ask him where he's taking you. When he leads you deeper into the forest, however, he requests you keep quiet with a wink and a smile. You had nearly forgotten about the dangers of Mareth because of your chaperone's boldness, but are reminded of them as Raphael often holds to perk his ears as if tracking noises. Something about him makes you feel safe, however, your confidence isn't misplaced. Your confidence isn't misplaced. Even though you walk ahead for almost an hour, you never seem to stumble upon any imps, goblins, or giant bees. Raphael often pauses and then decides to head another way, as if sensing their presence ahead. For the first time since you got here, you actually managed to enjoy your surrounding, with the russet road keeping an eye out for danger. Even seeing a giant tentacle beast lurch by beneath gives no cause for concern when Raphael hides the two of you up a tree and the creature seems oblivious to your presence. The trek goes on for another half an hour, and just when you're pleasantly spent from your eventful stroll, Raphael reveals the spot he's been leading you towards. In a forest clearing, the lush meadow reveals itself, overgrown with flowers of all kinds. The soft moss is in the middle, seems like a perfect place for a picnic, and the fox takes out a large blanket and puts down the basket. Walking has given you a healthy appetite as your tummy growls softly at the sight of fresh croissants and lean strips of bacon. You blush and hope the fox's sharp ears haven't picked up on the gentle sound, but that's probably too much hope for as he smirks at you from the side. Mademoiselle, he inquires your readiness. Breakfast is served, he exclaims while uncorking a bottle of wine. He has neatly arranged a series of plates, each filled with small delicacies. You smile at the flower-flanked arrangement. It almost looks far too good to be true, but the smell wafting from the still warm drumsticks is simply too good to pass up. You sink to your knees and wait patiently for Raphael to join you. The wine babbles warm and softly upon the glass when he pours it, standing a perfect 90-degree angle from the hips, his tail as a balance, and one arm in the back. It gives you a chance to admire him. He's been wagging that tight butt in front of you the entire journey over, while his silky tail almost appears to trap sunlight within its fine long hairs. From tip to bottom, white streak runs down his body's underside. You're not sure whether you approve of his clothes. He's a fine dresser and you admire the color and quality of the leather covering his body, but you wondered if he'd look even better without them on. Pelt and clothes both seem like an odd combination, despite being fashionable. When Raphael picks up a piece of bacon and nibbles on it, you seek to satisfy your own urge by breaking off a piece of the baguette and washing the moist bread down with a sip of wine. You're oddly at peace with consuming something of Raphael's, not only because he partakes just as eagerly, but because spiking food doesn't seem like his style. Going over the dangers in your mind, however, you also quickly realize that this is simply his method of winning you over with charm. Deep down, you're still supposed to be the hero champion this realm needs. It will take more than just wine and pastry to win you over. You clear your throat and look at the fox knowingly, a look only returned to him by a coy smile of innocence, while he pours out another glass. You indulge him for now. Curious and certain he has a great deal of knowledge on Mareth, you begin asking Raphael questions about his craft and experiences. Soon enough, two distinct subjects come as possible topics. Then again, the wine goes straight to your head, and this seems like the perfect time to enjoy more leisurely activities and simply enjoy yourself. Yeah, I want that fencing perk, darn it. I clicked it. Laggy lag.